Welcome everyone to the head to toe survey training. I'm William, I'll be your instructor today. So the aims of the session today are to explain the need for a head to toe survey during first aid. We'll explain the acronym SAMPLE and demonstrate how to complete a head to toe survey and identify the possible risks when doing a head to toe survey. So we're just going to go health and safety. So there's not planned to be a fire drill today. So if there is a fire drill, just go outside to the fire drill point and stay there. There's toilets just out there. There's just one toilet today because of COVID rules. Breaks and refreshments, there's a kitchen out there as well. It's a very small kitchen, so just one person at a time please, and make sure when you go out keep it nice and clean so the next person can use it. Also first aider, so there's a AD out there if anyone needs it. There's also a first aider here as well if anyone needs it. And remember COVID rules well, so always wear your mask, and when we're using the dummies today, wear gloves and just sanitise your hands before using it. And also be careful of the dummies today, try not to trip over them if you're going up here. It's just ground rules, just don't speak over each other today, phones on silent, and just respect others. So we'll just do an icebreaker before we start. So just go over what's your name, where you've travelled from, and any experience of doing head to toe survey, or any experience of first aid, and what do you do? So I'll start with you, Scott.
My name's Scott, travelled from Chelmsford today. My experience with head to toe surveys is what we've learned in the course this week. And I'm a SHEC coordinator for a utilities company in Brentwood.
My name's Jake. Today I've just travelled from the Premier Inn around the corner. No experience doing head to toe, limited doing real first aid. I'm currently a supermarket delivery driver.
My name's Linda. I travelled from Bexley at the beginning of the course. Previous to this, I didn't have any experience of head to toe survey, and I'm a treatment manager at a vocational dance school.
My name's Tammy, come from East Sussex, done 13 years in the fire brigade doing first aid.
I'm Darren, came from West Sussex. I have done head to toe survey before, worked in care for the past 14 years.
I'm Shannon. I've travelled down from Norfolk for this course, and my experience in head to toe surveys, I have done first aid. I'm a deputy manager in a supported living home for adults with learning disabilities.
Okay. Well, so I'm William. As I said before, I'm an instructor. Yes, I've been trained on doing head to toe, so I'll just show you that today. And I live quite close here, so it's not too far. Not some of the journeys you're travelling today. So why we do a head to toe survey is to gain from sample to gain medical history from them, also any other information that could be useful to us as first aiders and possibly useful for any other agencies or paramedics that come in to assess the patient or do further treatment. It's also to gauge potentially if they're bleeding, if there's any broken bones, if there's any swelling, anything like that that could show other signs potentially that will change how we're treating the patient. So just bleeding, we'll make sure that. So the patient has to actually be breathing and actually has to be conscious for us to do a head to toe survey. If they're not breathing, then we would put them in the recovery position. Or if they're not conscious, we'd put them in the recovery position. If they're not breathing, then we'll be doing CPR. So throughout the head to toe survey, when we're doing it, we'll ask them questions. Now, to remember the questions, there's the acronym SAMPLE. So would anyone like to guess what the S is?
Signs and symptoms.
Yep. A.
Allergies.
Yep.
Medication.
Yep.
Pre-existing conditions.
Yep. L.
Last meal.
Yep.
Last in, last out.
Last in, last out, yes. So both. And E.
The events leading up to her
Yep.
home.
Yeah, so for medication, we'll ask them anything, if they're taking anything, and it will also link into any past medical history, so we can do both. So yeah, last eating and last when they went to the toilet, because potentially that could tell us if they're complaining of potentially of anything really, and they say, oh, well, I've not eaten or I've not drunk for a certain amount of time. We go, okay, we'll put some, maybe you need some water. And events are quite good because it can tell us if they've been injured anywhere. So if possibly they've had a bike, they've come off a bike, then we could tell if they're bleeding anywhere. So we can ask questions like, what's wrong for the symptoms? Just ask them if they feel anything. For children, it's a bit different because possibly they're not so great at telling us what their symptoms are, where they're possibly injured. So that's why we do the head to toe survey as well. Allergies, just are you allergic to anything? You take any medication? Past medical history. Has this ever happened to you before? So possibly if they're not sure what's happened, if they know they've got a headache or if they suffer from something else, then they'll go, well, yeah, this has happened to me before. And you go, okay, possibly it's that. Again, last eating, when did you last eat and when did you last go to the toilet? And events, how did they get hurt? Just ask them stuff like that. So I'll show you now how to do a head to toe survey. So again, the patient must be conscious for us to do this. So I just want to check. I'll move this into the middle so everyone can see. Just tell me if you can't see. Can everyone see? Just want to check. So what we're going to do is we're going to start from the head up here. We're going to go down. So what we're going to do is we're going to look at the ears and we're going to see, is there any fluid coming out the ears? If there's not, that's good. If there is, possibly there could be some injuries to the brain. We're also going to look at the nose to see if there's anything coming out, any more liquid coming out the nose. Then we're going to start just checking around the head. We need to do this quite lightly because possibly if they've got any injuries to the skull, then we don't want it digging in and causing more injuries. So we're just going to check round, and while we're checking round, just checking for any blood every time we go out. So if there's nothing bad around there, okay, all good. Just do a visual check of the face, see if there's anything wrong. Then what we're going to do, I'm going to go down to the arms. Just checking, we've got to check if there's any swelling, any deformities on the arms. Again, checking for any blood going along. If there's nothing there, that's good. We'll go on to the next arm. Going across, just checking. And we'll check if the hands are all right as well, see if everything's good there. Again, any deformities or any swelling. So then I'll check the shoulders, just check they're in place, so there's nothing wrong with them, so they're not out of place. So we just check that and see, again, bleeding, going across. So then what I'm going to do is I'm going to check the abdomen and to see if there's any internal bleeding. So potentially if there is internal bleeding, it will start swelling and you'd find it be raised and it just wouldn't be normal, like a normal abdomen would. So we'll just go back our hand like that, just go and check to see if there's anything. If there's nothing bad there, then that's good. So now what we're going to do is we're going to check underneath to the spinal. If there is a spinal injury and they are complaining, once we put our hands underneath, we stop. We don't move them, we stop and just don't do anything else to them. Potentially we could check if they're bleeding on their eyes, but we don't really do anything with them. So that's what I'll do now. Check again, bleeding. Just asking them throughout this, the sample questions. So, when have you last eaten? How did this happen? So constantly doing that. Going across now, we're going to go to the legs. Do legs. So again, any deformities, any swelling, potentially can indicate something else. So when we get to the groin, we've got to be careful. So we don't want to accidentally hit them anywhere. We shouldn't, so we just got to be careful there. Again, asking for permission, so hopefully by the time we're doing the head to toe survey, we've got their consent to do it. But yeah, we'll just explain some. So yeah, I'm just going to go down here. Now I'm going to check. We're just checking. Again, no blood. So once we've done that, possibly you can write this down. If everything's okay, right, we don't have to write anything. If there's anything we possibly think is out of order, then we can write it down and then we can do a handover to the paramedics to get them to possibly assess them further and help them. So the possible risks, as I said, we don't want to press down on them too hard because potentially that can cause further injury. And we always want to check our hands because if we're not checking our hands every time we go through, possibly we're dragging the blood further. So we want to take it out every time we've checked and put it back in. So again, as I said, we're not going to move the patient if they complain of spinal injuries or potentially we feel anything behind there. We don't want to move them. And we're just keeping them still all the time because we don't know, when we start the head to toe survey, we don't know if there's any injuries to their spine or anywhere else. And by moving them, possibly that could cause further injury. So what we're going to do now, I'll put you into three groups, so three over there, you three over there. We've got two dummies. I've just moved them out of the way. If you put gloves on, put your mask on, just do a head to toe survey and also use the sample acronym as well when doing it. So ask them questions and just go for it. So we'll go one at a time. That one over there.
Sorry, you no, actually do.
So if you go to this one, if you use this one here, and you three.
So my name's Linda, I'm a first aider. So what if I do a head to toe survey, just check your bones, broken, etc.
Okay, so what we're going to do while we wait for emergency services, I'm just going to do a check around the body to see if we can see anything else what's going on. But where's the main problem?
Back of my head.
Back of your hand, okay. And does anywhere else hurt?
I'm just going to feel around your cheek.
Alright, let's have a little check then.
Across the top of the forehead and then
So when was the last time
okay?
you had something to eat?
Okay, I'm just going to go
This afternoon at lunchtime.
Okay.
across the chair.
And are you on any medication?
High blood pressure tablets.
Okay, do you know what that medication is called?
Yes, it's called
Are
Remicade.
you on
Okay.
any
Could you write that down
medication
for me
or
really quickly?
anything?
Yeah, write that down so we can have that. Okay, any pain here on this arm?
No.
Okay, obviously, we're not going to touch this side too much because that's when
Yeah.
the feet are kind of sticking up.
Here, I'm
My name's Scott, I'm a
Don't avoid
first
that
aider.
area,
Can I help
but-
you?
Thank you. Oh,
Feel that in the fingers?
yeah.
Shall I please send it? Does it fit the tail? I'm just going to just, okay, if I just go around.
If it's right, yeah,
your
just
hip,
come
your
inside
pelvis.
in the groin area.
Okay.
Pelvis feel okay?
Yeah.
Yeah. Down this leg.
Yeah.
So how did this happen? How have you ended up like this?
I don't know, I just had a dizzy spell.
And then that just fell in your arm.
Oh, I must have fallen on it.
Toes, feel the toes?
Yes.
Again,
Yeah.
Hello there, my name's Jake.
Cool.
For a bite. Done to yourself.
This side, toes,
Okay.
Fine.
do this.
Well, I'm still waiting for medical services. I'll just give you a check over if you're all right with that.
Hi, my name's Shannon, I'm a first aider. Can I help you?
I'm good. Here's the medication
I'm
you're
just
taking.
going to check you over and see if you've
Okay.
done any
Should we go
damage.
right?
So check and put blood in
checking
his warmer, please.
There's that.
Just check behind your head.
Okay, I'm just going to check underneath. Yeah. Check
Behind
your
your head.
hips.
Does that hurt?
Yeah.
Yes.
Just let me know if something hurts.
Ooh,
I'll stop.
that really
Just going to
hurts.
keep your head really still. Can I get someone over here to help me, please? Just hold his head.
That's all right. Check the
Is
knee.
it down?
Yeah.
Okay, if you can just stabilise his head. I'm just going to check the next level. Make sure you've got no other injuries. Okay?
So if there's a spot,
You feel that? You feel the wiggle? Yeah.
Yeah.
You feel the touching there?
Fine.
Lovely.
Now just going to check behind your spine.
All right.
Alright, just going to press on
Does
your
that
ribs a
hurt?
little bit. Your breathing's alright,
That's
isn't
fine.
it?
I'm just going to come down your leg and into your groin area, just to check. See if there's any
Any tenderness there?
bleeding or anything.
Good.
Is that okay?
No, I'm just going to check down your legs. Same again, if you feel any pain, just let me know.
Can you feel your feet?
Okay, just wind your back on the table, mate.
Yeah. Got it. Feel that?
Ooh, that really
Oh,
hurts.
that
which
hurts,
toe is
okay.
that?
We'll keep that still.
Wait,
Just going to
checking inside your leg. Just
I love how shiny
What's
this
that?
is. That is gonna go.
Nothing on your back.
Good.
It's not
Well,
bothering
we'll do the
you,
other
it's
side.
sticking out.
Yeah.
Okay, we're just going to keep that still.
Good.
Emergency
That's all good.
services down.
Yeah.
Okay?
Yeah.
You wait there, I'll go and call the emergency services.
Hi there. Can I help you on the first aider? What's your name?
Harry.
Hey, Harry. I'm just gonna check you over. Just gonna check your face. Where does it hurt?
My jaw.
Can you open your mouth?
Yeah, that was what. Jaw hurt.
I'm just gonna check your head. Just to check if there's any
Thank you.
bleeding. Just gonna move down to your shoulders. Just checking your arms. Underneath. Sure. Is there any pain?
No.
Can you feel your fingers?
Yes.
Yeah, right. Just gonna check your leg, is that okay? Just gonna go around the groin area. Can you feel your toes?
Yes.
Where's this other one? Can you feel this one?
Uh-huh.
Can you feel these?
Yes.
Right. Alright, so we'll just get the emergency service for you in a minute.
well done. Well done over in there. It's good, quite good, yeah. Really good. So do you have any questions on that? No questions? Good. So what we'll cover today, so we've explained the need to assess a patient using a head-to-toe survey. You've learned the acronym SAMPLE. You've demonstrated a head-to-toe survey, and we've identified the possible risks involved with doing a head-to-toe survey. So thank you. Have you got any more questions, anything?
I've got a question. So, just to explain again what happens if they fall whilst they're doing a head-to-toe survey, they go unconscious.
So if they go unconscious,
Spinal.
if we suspect it's spinal,
Yeah.
so if they go unconscious and we suspect it's a spinal and they're still breathing, then we'd leave them there. If they didn't have a spinal injury and they went unconscious, we'd put them in the recovery position. But because they've potentially got a spinal injury and they're still breathing, we want to keep them there, but we still want to make sure their airways are open. So There's no obstructions or anything else, so